There are questions that echo in the soul long before we dare to speak them aloud. Questions that rise in the quiet moments when life wounds us in ways we didn't choose and pain arrives without knocking. Questions like, if God is good, why does evil exist? If He is powerful, why doesn't He stop it? If He loves us, why do we face battles that seem unfair, unpredictable, and overwhelming? Most people push these questions away because they fear the answers. But deep inside, something in us keeps searching, because understanding this mystery feels like understanding the meaning of our own suffering. Today, you will hear an explanation that almost no one ever reveals, an answer that moves beyond the surface and touches the very roots of who God is and who we are. It's not a philosophical theory, and it's not a cold theological concept. It is a truth that breathes, a truth that explains why every tear you've shed has weight, why every choice you've made has power, and why the darkness in this world has never been capable of extinguishing the light that lives inside you. What if the existence of evil wasn't proof of God's absence, but proof of something far deeper and far more personal? What if the very thing that troubles you is also the key to understanding the heart of God? Stay with me, because in the next moments we're going to uncover a mystery that has shaped humanity from the beginning. The mystery of free will, the divine gift that carries beauty and danger, purpose and responsibility. And as we open this together, you may finally see your own life with clarity you've never had before. If this message touches you, don't forget, even subtly, to leave a like and subscribe so more people can find the answers they've been searching for without knowing where to begin. And now, let's step into the story behind the freedom we carry and the consequences that come with it, as the path naturally leads us to the deeper question of why a world created by a perfect God can feel so painfully imperfect. From the moment we step into this world, we're told that God is good, that He is love, that He watches over us with a father's heart. Yet life eventually confronts us with experiences that seem to contradict that belief. Moments when tragedy strikes without warning, when injustice rises like a storm we can't escape, when people we love disappear too soon, and when our own hearts break under the weight of circumstances we never asked for. And in those moments, something quiet but powerful begins to form inside us. A tension between what we were taught to believe and what we've seen with our own eyes. Many try to silence that tension because they fear what it might reveal, but the truth is that this internal conflict isn't a sign of weak faith. It is a sign of a searching soul, a soul that refuses to settle for shallow explanations. We wonder why the world God created contains so much pain, and if He truly sees the wounds we carry. We wonder why some prayers seem to echo in empty space, while others are answered in ways we don't understand. We wonder if the silence of heaven in our darkest nights means abandonment or something else entirely. But before we can understand why God allows the existence of evil, we must first understand something profound. The world we experience is not only shaped by God's will, it is also shaped by our own choices and the choices of every person who came before us. This tension between divine sovereignty and human freedom is the stage where life unfolds. And as strange as it sounds, this tension is not a mistake. It is the very atmosphere in which love, meaning, and purpose exist. When we begin to grasp this, the puzzle starts to shift. The scattered pieces begin to align, and a path opens, leading us naturally toward the deeper truth behind the gift God placed in the human heart. A gift powerful enough to create beauty or destruction, peace or chaos, depending on how it is used. Now let's walk toward that truth as we uncover why God gave us free will in the first place, and why this freedom is far more sacred and far more serious than most people realize. To understand why God allows evil, we must look first at something far more intimate, the freedom he placed inside every human soul. Freedom was not given as an accessory to life. It was woven into the very structure of our existence. God could have created beings that followed him automatically, beings incapable of rebellion, beings that worshipped by instinct rather than intention. But love that is programmed is not love. It is compliance. And relationship without choice is not relationship. It is control. The moment God decided to create humanity not as servants but as children, the gift of free will became indispensable. Without freedom, there is no trust, no affection, no genuine connection. God wanted us to have the capacity to choose him, not because we were forced to, but because love drew us back. And for that to be possible, the ability to walk away had to exist as well. This is the divine risk. When you give someone the power to choose, you also give them the power to reject. When you grant the ability to love, you inherently grant the ability to harm. When you open the door to good, you open the door to its opposite. Free will is the most dangerous gift we possess. And yet it is also the most beautiful, because it is the foundation of every meaningful act we can perform. Every act of compassion, every surrender to God, every decision to forgive, trust, or serve comes from the same place: the freedom to say yes when we could have said no. But with this freedom comes a weight that many underestimate. Choices ripple outward. They shape who we become, they shape the world around us, and sometimes they shape generations after us. And God, in his wisdom, chose not to prevent those ripples. He chose instead to walk with us through them. This means that the same freedom that allows someone to heal can allow another to destroy. The same freedom that lifts one life can wound another. This is not evidence of a cruel God, but of a God who honors the dignity of the beings he created. He respects our agency so deeply that he does not revoke it, even when our choices break his heart. When we understand this, we begin to see the world differently. The tragedies around us are not authored by God. They are often authored by human decisions, by someone's misuse of a gift meant for good. And as we walk deeper into this truth, we naturally step into the next revelation: how the misuse of free will opened the door to the existence of evil itself, and how that door has affected every life since the beginning of time. When we speak about evil, most people imagine God sitting in heaven, watching suffering unfold, as if he were distant or indifferent. But that image dissolves the moment we understand where evil truly began. Evil did not originate in the heart of God. It originated in the heart of someone who was once close to him. It began when a created being, endowed with freedom, chose pride over worship, rebellion over obedience, and separation over communion. The very first misuse of free will didn't happen on earth. It happened in the spiritual realm, long before humanity took its first breath. And from that moment, the door was opened for corruption to ripple outward. This same dynamic appeared again when humanity stepped onto the stage. God placed Adam and Eve in a garden where everything reflected his goodness. There was no sickness, no violence, no betrayal, no fear, just harmony between creator and creation. But within that perfect environment existed one essential element: choice. Not a trap, not a trick, not a setup, but a genuine opportunity to choose love. And where there is a path of love, there must also be an alternate path. When humanity chose that alternate path, wanting independence more than guidance, the world fractured. It was not God's desire for the earth to be filled with pain. It was the inevitable outcome of beings misusing freedom. And from that moment on, every human life would experience the echoes of that fracture: war, injustice, betrayal, cruelty. None of these originated with God. They are the cascading results of decisions made by free beings living far from the wisdom of the One who created them. Even natural suffering, the kind no one directly chooses, enters a world already disordered by the cumulative weight of countless decisions across history. We inherit a battlefield shaped by a long chain of choices, both angelic and human. But here lies a delicate truth many overlook. If God removed the possibility of evil, he would also remove the possibility of freedom. If he prevented every harmful act, he would also prevent every meaningful one. The same freedom that enables a person to hurt is the freedom that allows another to forgive, to sacrifice, to uplift, to love beyond reason. Freedom makes evil possible, but it also makes goodness powerful. Understanding this changes the way we see the world. Evil is not evidence that God has abandoned us. It is evidence that he created us with dignity so profound that he would not override our choices, even when they harm the world he made. And yet, even in the midst of this brokenness, he does not step back. He steps closer. And that brings us naturally to the next part of our journey. How God responds to a world wounded by freedom, a world that still carries both the marks of our decisions and the promise of his redemption. When we look at the suffering in the world, it's easy to imagine that God is simply watching from a distance, allowing chaos to unfold without intervention. But this perception collapses the moment we understand the deeper truth. God does not stop every consequence of free will, yet he never abandons those who walk through its effects. He does not erase our decisions, but he enters the pain they create to transform what could have destroyed us into something that can strengthen us. His involvement is not always in prevention, it is often in redemption. Think of the countless lives shaped by choices they did not make. Children growing up in broken homes, people hurt by betrayal, communities torn by violence. These wounds do not exist because God desired them. They exist because freedom was misused somewhere in the chain of humanity. And yet, even in these places where darkness seems to triumph, there are moments of unexpected restoration. Moments where strength rises out of weakness, where courage is born in the midst of suffering, where identity is rebuilt after being shattered. These moments are not coincidences. They are the fingerprints of a God who refuses to let evil have the final word. Throughout the Bible, we see this pattern repeated. God does not always prevent harm, but he consistently works through it. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned unjustly, yet through every step, God was shaping him into the leader who would save nations. David faced rejection, fear, and pursuit before meeting his purpose. The early church endured persecution, but through their suffering, the message of salvation spread farther and faster than it ever could through comfort. Suffering does not reveal God's absence. It reveals his ability to turn ashes into purpose. And this same redemptive power reaches into our individual lives. Every regret, every heartbreak, every unanswered question becomes material God can use when we surrender it to him. He does not promise a world without pain. He promises his presence in the middle of it, his strength when ours fails, his wisdom when ours is confused. The pain we experience is not meaningless. It becomes part of a story that leads us deeper into who he is and who we were created to be. When we understand this, something begins to shift inside us. Suffering no longer feels like evidence of abandonment. It becomes a place where transformation happens. And with this shift comes the next revelation. If free will can cause harm, it can also become our greatest weapon against the darkness we face. Every choice we make can move us toward healing, purpose, and alignment with God's heart. And it is toward this empowering truth that our journey now continues. Once we understand that free will is both a gift and a responsibility, something shifts inside us. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of a chaotic world and begin recognizing the extraordinary power placed in our hands. Every day, we stand at crossroads, quiet intersections, where our choices shape not only our path, but the atmosphere around us. And this is where free will becomes more than a philosophical idea. It becomes a spiritual weapon. The enemy does not fear a person who suffers. He fears a person who suffers and still chooses God. He fears the person who wakes up each day and decides, despite the battles, to stand in integrity, to forgive when bitterness feels easier, to love when the world pushes toward hate, to speak truth, even when silence seems safer. These choices, small as they appear, carry weight in the unseen realm. They build resilience, spiritual authority, and inner clarity. Many people wait for their circumstances to change before they choose a different mindset, but free will flips that order. It teaches us that transformation often begins inside, long before it becomes visible outside. When we choose discipline, our character grows. When we choose humility, pride loses power. When we choose obedience, our spiritual sensitivity sharpens. When we choose hope over despair, something inside us refuses to die. Every decision becomes a seed that shapes our future. This means you are not powerless against the darkness in your life. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you control the way you respond. And that response determines whether the situation crushes you or strengthens you. God does not ask you to be perfect. He asks you to be intentional. Use your freedom to open doors that align with His heart, and watch how He steps into those choices with supernatural strength you didn't have before. We sometimes imagine spiritual battles as distant, dramatic events, but many of them take place in the quiet space of daily life, in the thoughts we allow, the voices we believe, the habits we cultivate, the things we tolerate, and the boundaries we set. Free will is exercised in these everyday decisions, shaping who we become and what kind of spiritual atmosphere we carry. And now, with this understanding, we are ready to approach a final and profound truth. God never abandons those who choose to walk with Him. In fact, the moment we align our will with His, a divine companionship begins to unfold. A relationship that guides us, strengthens us, and transforms the path ahead. When we talk about free will, it's easy to imagine ourselves standing alone, navigating life with nothing but our own strength and intuition. But that has never been God's intention. Freedom was not meant to isolate us. It was meant to draw us into a deeper relationship with the one who gave it. The moment a person chooses God, something extraordinary begins to happen. Heaven doesn't just observe their journey, it joins it. God does not force Himself on anyone, but He walks closely with those who invite Him in. This companionship doesn't erase the challenges of life, but it completely transforms how we face them. Instead of wandering without direction, we begin sensing guidance in the decisions we make. Instead of collapsing under pressure, we discover strength that doesn't come from us. Instead of being defined by our past, we find ourselves being shaped by grace day after day. God does not manipulate our choices. He empowers them. He doesn't silence our fears. He steadies our hearts in the midst of them. He doesn't remove our humanity. He redeems it. When you choose to walk with God, your freedom stops being a burden and becomes a pathway, a route through which purpose flows into your life. Suddenly, what once felt random begins to make sense. The closed doors, the delays, the unexpected turns, the battles you didn't understand, all of it starts to align with something bigger than your own desires. God doesn't promise a life without valleys, but He promises that no valley will ever be walked alone. And as this companionship deepens, something else happens inside you. Your desires begin to change. You start wanting what He wants. You start seeing what He sees. You start recognizing that every choice is an opportunity to reflect His character, His love, His wisdom. Free will becomes not only your gift, but your offering. With this truth established, we now approach a moment of surrender and connection, a moment where your heart can speak to God, and He can speak back in ways that bring clarity, peace, and renewed strength. And it is from this place of companionship and understanding that we move naturally into a prayer that aligns your will with His, allowing His presence to fill the space your choices have opened. God, in this moment of stillness, I lift every heart, listening to the sound of these words. You see the questions they carry, the wounds they hide, the battles they fight in silence. You know the weight of every choice they've made and the consequences that followed, both the ones they expected and the ones they never saw coming. And so I ask, breathe your wisdom into them now. Let clarity rise where confusion once lived. Let courage awaken where fear has settled. Let your light expand in places where darkness tried to take root. Teach each one of us how to use the freedom you've given, not as a doorway to destruction, but as a pathway to life. Strengthen us to choose what is good, even when it costs us something. Empower us to walk away from what steals our peace and to draw near to what strengthens our spirit. Heal the places in us shaped by the misuse of our own choices or the choices of others. Redeem what was broken, restore what was stolen, renew what was lost, and above all, remind us that we never walk alone. Your presence is not distant, it is steady, patient, and near. Guide our decisions, soften our hearts, and shape our desires so they reflect your heart. We surrender our will to you, trusting that your wisdom is greater than our understanding, and that your love carries us through every valley. Amen. As you take a breath after this journey, let this truth settle gently inside you. Your life is not a random sequence of events, and you are far from powerless. The freedom God placed within you is sacred, a doorway through which purpose, healing, and transformation can enter your story. Evil may exist, and suffering may touch your path, but neither of them has the authority to define your destiny. Every new day invites you to choose differently, to walk with greater awareness, and to align your heart with the one who has walked beside you from the beginning, even in the moments when you didn't notice his presence. And if this message brought clarity, strength, or comfort to your heart, I invite you to take a simple step that helps this truth reach even more people who need it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and share this message with someone you love. And I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment telling me which part spoke most deeply to you. Your words may encourage someone else who is searching for answers. This is Inner Light, Infinite Wisdom, a place where your faith finds direction and your soul finds rest. Make sure to return for the next video because there is so much more we will explore together. See you in the next video. Until then, keep your vibration high and your mind connected to the divine.